my shop. So hey, this is my channel, Excess Motorworks, and we are working on Project Split Decision, the do-it-yourself supercar. So where I left off last on the channel here is the cab, where I actually have the placement. So I'm really happy with the placement. You can see where the seat's at, headroom, everything lines up exactly where it should. So there's really going to be no modification needed for the steering or the dash. That'll actually just kind of slide right where we need it to go, which is a bonus. So when I left off though, and I had the Corvette C7 deck lid on there, I've established this nice body line. So that really is looking pretty good. But it makes some things look really bad. Like basically this whole section right here. So the first thing is this part here. This is not going to work at all. This is starting to come down, making the car look very bubbly, and I want mine to be more of a fastback, very angular. So this section definitely has to be reworked. I'm hoping to be able to save the B pillar here. I hope I don't have to actually push it in, but I might actually have to push it in. If I don't have to push it in, then I've got the complete door frame I can work with. This top skin here, this is definitely just, again, kind of more bubbly looking than I want, so I want to get rid of that. And last but not least is the A pillar itself. Hey Bob, go ahead and move over a little bit so the folks can see. So the A pillar itself here, just the skin. So on the original Honda, you can see here with my hand that my finger kind of slides down there, the pinky kind of disappears, and it actually even goes up to my second finger. So I want to get this A pillar really much closer to the window, so it just kind of has a more of a finished look. They have a piece of trim here on the Honda. I'm not going to use it. So we'll get this kind of really pushed down to that glass and see what that looks like. So I guess that's, without further ado, I need to go ahead and get the grinder, cutter, whatever you want to call it, out and pull the skin off and see what we're really dealing with. So let's get started. All right, so the final look as it looks from factory fresh from Honda. You can see here it's got kind of that nice bubbly look. Oh, really nice and bubbly here, yeah. I guess, but that does not look like a supercar to me. So, ta-da! All right, so with those bubble lines removed, you can see already that we've got a really nice rake going on the windshield. So I'll go ahead and fill this in and remove that back section there. So now the car doesn't look like it's coming down as much as it's going back as a fastback. I've also removed the skin off the door. I only got one door right now. I'll have to get another one. But I actually don't even know if I need to remove the skin ultimately. I just kind of did that to see what I was dealing with here. You notice that the line on the window here, the side window, actually goes up. So I actually think this looks really, really good. I'll step back here for a second. You can kind of see with the front end that we got kind of mocked up there, kind of the lines we're going with. Still got our Corvette C7 deck lid and the front end, the custom front end that we're making. So this actually to me really looks pretty sexy. So what I've got to do next is go ahead and start sculpting. And to do that, I'm going to use Plaster of Paris. So normally I use Bondo, but obviously this is not structural. I'm just trying to actually make a mold. So I'll go ahead and fill this in with Plaster of Paris and start really sculpting this line down, as well as trying to start make it match into the roof of the C7. Ultimately, this is going to actually have to be raised up, the roof here, just a little bit, as well as flattened out, also give it more of an aggressive look to it. So that's what we're going to do next. So let's go ahead on with the show. We'll go ahead and get some Plaster of Paris made up and start sculpting.
Feel uninvited, left home in West LA, I'm not excited, so uninspired.
So I spent yesterday playing with Plaster of Paris and trying to get this body line to where I wanted it. I like this. This actually is looking really pretty good. It's a little too sharp, but I want to get these two angles and then I'll put a nice radius on it. That's the good part, or good news, whatever you want to say. Bad news. Back section here. So even on the camera you can tell that this is way too thick. The roof is coming up, the window's coming down. So I actually have to start this over, and I think I'm actually going to have to cut the roof. So to do that, we can get rid of this part first. Alright, that's part one gone. And I'm going to get in here and weld up a back brace, and then I think I'm actually going to cut the roof. Don't know if that's a good idea or not. So when I originally did the test fitting, I was in the car with the helmet and I had plenty of head clearance. I'm going to have to cut the roof and bring it back down just a little bit on the back side, hopefully preserving the head clearance. So wish me luck on that. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get to it.
On my way to play the bay while you're alone. This girl's a wonder. She loves me.
So the top, she's a no more. We don't need that. All right, so now what I have to look at though is, did I actually make this a little too low? That top is actually about 2.5 inches up off the side rails here, and I actually want to craft the new top against the side rails, kind of preserving this really kind of skinny look here. That look right there. So let's see how we're gonna do this. Hey guys, need a seat. Guys, tough to get good help, I tell you.
I guess we'll just go. Looks good.
So, I'm in my fancy dancy supercar, and I actually have headroom. I'm going to try with the helmet, but it looks like this is going to be the roof line. So, that's really pretty exciting. Hold on just a second, let me get my helmet, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and put what I'm going to use as a temporary roof up here. This is the absolute lowest it'll be. See if this is gonna work.
She needs to know I love her. I wonder if we'll make it through this.
So obviously that's pretty flat, looks pretty dumb, but the key is, can I sit in the seat with the helmet on? And the answer is absolutely yes. So this is going to be the new roof line for my damn supercar. And my arm fits. Cool. Hey, so have you ever wondered what a whole roll of masking tape will do for your body lines on your car? Well, here you go. So really what am I actually doing is trying to finalize some of the positions of the components I need to take into account. Realistically, the back glass. So I've obviously got the front glass taken care of, the windows taken care of. I want a little piece of glass back there so you can kind of see into the engine compartment, and then the back glass. So this is obviously already taken care of. So what I really need to do is kind of get this back glass lined up to the roof and make sure that these lines are in proper plane. So this needs to be kind of pretty much of a nice straight line. So to do that, I'm going to put some Plaster of Paris up here and kind of work this back just a little bit or forward. I'm not exactly sure just yet. So it could be, you know, out maybe an inch or so, and then that will go ahead and let us to finalize the position of the back deck. Once the back deck is finalized, the car will be scanned in. Yes, I'm going to actually go ahead and scan the whole thing in and actually do some renderings in the computer. So all of these lines will be kind of drafted back into CAD, and then I can do some renderings based on those body positions. So that brings up an interesting kind of conversation I had with somebody. So they said, hey, I'd love to design your car. And I said, well, hey, why not let you take a crack at it? Because, well, I'm just an average designer myself, or avid diviner, I guess. And I have no problem with that. So what I'm going to do is, if you're actually interested, I will share a scan of what I've actually created here, which would obviously be the main cabin section. This obviously cannot be changed. If you're interested, you got to basically live with the cabin, the wheel placement. Those are basically hard points where it can't be adjusted. But other than that, you can go ahead and, you know, kind of design at will. If I do choose your design, I will give you credit. I won't give you any money because I got no money to give you. But if you are interested in having your name basically or company represented on the build, I would be more than happy to do so. So we might even take it up to a vote. So after we get some designs in, might let the crowd decide what I most should build next. We'll see how that goes. But so what you're going to see next here is more basically plaster of Paris being poured on the car, finalizing this, and I think that'll probably wrap up this episode once that's done.
Just wanna touch like back when we were younger. Yeah. Why don't you love me, love me, love me? Touch me, touch me, touch me no more. Why don't you love me, love me, love me? Touch me, touch me, touch me no more.
So I covered the car in plaster of Paris. Well, part of the car in plaster of Paris anyway. About 3 bags worth of plaster of Paris you're seeing right here. And this is the last part of plaster of Paris I'm going to do. That was really just to basically make sure that this corner right here, where the B-pillar meets the roof, was in far enough. In a Honda, it's actually kind of, goes out a little further, and this car kind of wanted it to lay back in. I wasn't sure if when removing that skin, if I was going to have enough clearance, or if I was really going to have to start cutting into the frame itself. Happy to report that, yeah, it's fine. It is fine just the way it is. So what I really need to do is, you can kind of see the car's got a case of the chicken pox now. What I need to do is go ahead and scan the whole car in. And then I'm going to use Rhino as well as a couple of other tools, basically Fusion 360 and Rhino. And I'm going to create the frame, and I'm going to create overlines, this line right here, starting here all the way up. That'll kind of establish the profile of the car and let me start kind of designing the rest of the look of the car. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and scan it, and then we'll see where we're at.
Love me, love me, love me. Touch me, touch me, touch me. Love me, love me, love me.
There you have it. The whole car has been scanned in with a nice high definition scanner. So the scanner I own actually is an older scanner, but it's still very, very accurate. It's 0.5 millimeters accuracy. So with the scan that we've got, we know for a fact where all of these hard points actually exist. So when we go to create the body, we're not going to worry about actually having to worry about fit and figure there. So what you do see is obviously I've got the plaster of Paris gone. That was really there just to make sure that I could establish a body line that I liked, and that I wasn't going to have to modify the cabin anymore, this Civic cabin. So with that said, I'm happy with it. So now, now we know where this line needs to exist. We have all of our things scanned in. Just for a point of reference, this is just white primer, and these little reflective dots are all over. That helps the laser pick up where everything is in a three-dimensional space. So now what we got to do is go ahead and start working on the computer. Get the CAD system opened up, start actually designing all the missing components, the missing shapes. You kind of see a couple of shapes, but there's still a lot of shapes that need to be taken into consideration, as well as some more of the more aggressive lines. So obviously this is very flat right here. It's not going to be flat when it's all done. We're going to have some projections out and some kind of wingy shapes, or I don't know, just whatever we want to do. Because I'm actually not going to be the only designer. I'm actually going to give the scan to other people who want to design a car based on this scan. They are free to do so, and if we use it, then they'll get credit. Otherwise, we'll use my design. We'll see. So as I said, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video, and in the next video we'll talk about doing the actual designing of the car. And as always, thanks for watching, and from me and the guys for the guys here at the shop, hey, have a great day.